Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Ralph Man, and sitting next to me, this weird-looking character waving at you there is Mortimer Snurd. And boy, you can look at those two teeth and know he's a huge smurd. So how you doing there, Mortimer?
Well, I guess I'm doing just fine. I thought we were going to have more puppets here.
Well, we're going to run the show tonight anyway. That is Mortimer Snurd, and he's part of the MyHauntedDolls.com fame. Very famous over there. In fact, I think he's one of the caregivers to those 300 dolls. He makes sure they stay in line, if you know what I'm talking about. Oh, look at that. If you look at him when he opens that mouth big and wide, you'll notice those two teeth are the only teeth he has. Oh, wait a minute, there's a couple more back there. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about Ventriloquist Dummies coming alive. But I want you to look at this little video for the opening of the show. Pay close attention here. This is real. So what'd you think about that there, Mortimer?
That was entirely creepy.
All right. I'm going to turn this over to you and let you start telling one of your ventriloquist shows. And then I'm going to go over here. We got somebody chatting with us in the chat box. And I need to go straighten my hair out. Look, it's kind of frightening, isn't it? By the way, Mortimer.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
You're looking kind of plastic tonight. Are you okay?
Well, you do too.
Tell us a story there, Mortimer. Scare and frighten the little kitties.
Okay. Well, that video we just saw, that's actually a real ventriloquist dummy head that was captured on video. A man by the name of Michael Diamond was given the doll made by a prisoner at a German World War II camp. So what you were looking at there was a real haunted ventriloquist dummy. And he set up a GoPro to capture that footage. If you can go pull that back up and watch it on YouTube, you'll see that its eyes were blinking, was swinging open and closed by itself. That was some creepy stuff. But did you know that the history of ventriloquism started out kind of creepy? Started like us folks here at Abnormal, Alabama. The ventriloquism was a religious practice.
Wait a minute, Mortimer. I've got to interrupt you here for a second, buddy.
Okay.
Why are you stuttering so much over there, man? Are you scared?
Baby.
Tell your damn story and quit stuttering.
Move on. Watch out. The name comes from the Latin for to speak from the stomach or belly. The Greeks called this gastromancy. No, that's not farting, but speaking from the stomach. The noises produced by the stomach were thought to be the voices of the unliving. Yes, the dead. Ghosts. As well as to foretell the future. One of the earliest recorded group of prophets to use this technique was the Pythia, the priestess at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi, who acted as the conduit for the Delphic oracle. One of the most successful early gastromancers was Eurycles, not Don Rickles, but Eurycles, a prophet at Athens. Gastromancers came to be referred to as Eurycides in his honor. Other parts of the world also have a tradition of ventriloquism for ritual or religious purposes. Historically, there have been adepts of this practice among the Zulu, Inuit, and Maori people. The shift from ventriloquism as manifestation of spiritual forces toward ventriloquism as we know it right here as entertainment happened in the 18th century at the traveling fun fairs and market towns and has been ongoing ever since. But enough of that boring history. I bet you want a scary story.
Well, all I can say is, Mortimer, you sound suspiciously like Kevin Kane.
And you sound suspiciously like Mr. Clean.
Ho, 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 ho! So I have a question for all the kiddos out there that's watching the show tonight. Are any of you comfortable or afraid of ventriloquist dummies? If you're afraid, we have more in store for you. Now keep in mind, we're kind of some of your stiff dummies. Who knows? If this becomes a popular thing, we might come more alive. So,
I'm not stiff.
what do you got? Well, yeah, you need some Viagra.
All right, Woodhead.
Take some Viagra, you'll get stiff.
Yeah. Well, when we think of scary ventriloquist dummies, the first thing that comes to mind is the wonderful Mary Shaw. How many of you have heard of Mary Shaw? All right there, Kevin, get out of the frame there. This is my show, see? Okay. So, Mary Shaw. If you've never heard of her, you've probably seen her in the movie Dead Silence, or Dead Silent, as it's known here in the U.S. But here's the story behind it. People love a good scary story, and scary ventriloquist dummies make for the best creepy stories yet. If you had not heard of Mary Shaw, perhaps it's a good thing. According to legend, Mary Shaw was a woman who was never able to have kids. So instead, she decided to collect dolls. There's a poem about her. Beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls. If you see her in your dreams, make sure you never scream, for she'll rip your tongue out at the seam.
Okay, we need to keep it a little bit. Oh wow, what is this?
That is Mary Shaw.
Okay, we gotta keep it a little bit clean because someone's gonna bring the little girls in to watch this. So watch your foul language there, Mortimer.
Okay. And you too wouldn't have.
You need to take that picture down.
Okay. You fun killer.
Well, we'll get back to that. But listen. Why? Who's that behind you there, Mortimer?
There's nobody behind there.
Oh, I think there is. You got it pretty dark in that room, too, don't you, Mortimer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Blunt County Bigfoot research says I'm a fun killer. Well, fun kill you.
Should I continue with the Mary Shaw story?
Now continue.
Okay. All right.
Any time now.
Mary Shaw was a ventriloquist who performed in carnivals and fairs in the early 1940s. One day, as Mary was performing in the old theater named the Gignall, a little boy in the audience made fun of Mary. His name was Michael Ashen. Michael called Mary a phony and laughed that he could see her lips moving while she performed her ventriloquist act. The audience howled with laughter and mocked Mary. Mary was humiliated and embarrassed, but Mary was a strong woman, and she vowed to herself that she would not let this unfortunate incident go. For nobody mocked Mary Shaw and got away with it.
Oh, wow.
Weeks passed, and everyone forgot about the humiliating event, but not Mary. Weeks after Michael Ashen mocked Mary publicly, he went missing. Everyone in the town, including the Ashen family, were certain that Mary had something to do with Michael's disappearance. They scoured the town, held search parties, vigils, but nothing.
Nothing?
Michael did not turn up. By now, a mob mentality ruled the town, and people began to suspect that Mary had something to do with the boys' performance.
Mary got caught. Was that
one night? Say what?
I just wondered if that was the same one as Bloody Mary.
I never thought about that. One night, a group of local townsmen went to confront Mary. They were certain that Mary had killed the boy. They entered her small cottage and yelled at her to confess what she'd done with the boy. Mary shrieked in terror that she was innocent and that she had not any part in the boy's disappearance. But the men did not believe her.
I wouldn't have believed her either.
They grabbed her, tortured her, but Mary still would not confess. As the men's fury and rage grew, one of them grabbed a knife, and as Mary screamed for mercy, he cut off her tongue.
Oh, no.
And they left her to bleed to death, writhing in agony.
It was Bloody Mary. She was bloody in the end.
Poor Mary died, but she was not alone. She was surrounded by her children, who witnessed the horrible, bloody murder of their mother.
Mother.
When news spread throughout the town that Mary had gotten her just desserts, people were pleased. They never trusted a woman who performed at carnivals and who could make their dolls speak. She was probably a witch anyway, and they were glad to get rid of her.
I would have called her a witch.
When the local undertaker was called to take care of Mary's body, he realized that Mary had an unusual request when it came to the disposition of her body. She wanted to be married with her children. She was also made up to look like a ventriloquist dummy herself.
No, not one of us.
Yeah.
One of us? Are you kidding me? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Mortimer, that's not a good story at all. That's a scary story.
Of course it is.
Oh, I forgot. That's what we're doing, is telling scary stories. Okay.
Of course, we're
I'm a dummy. I resemble that.
The local mortician did as was in her will out of respect for the dead. For in those times, local form and superstition went hand in hand. Now, for a few days, the town was quiet. There was an eerie howl in the air, which no one could explain. The sky seemed darker, and the birds did not sing. The flowers in the gardens began to wilt, although no one could explain why.
I can tell you why. I think it has to do with Mary.
And then it began. The first to be murdered was just Jedediah John. The man who had
Wait a minute. You talking about Jebediah?
Jedediah.
Oh, jeez.
The man who had cut off Mary's tongue that frightful night when the mob entered her home. But it was not Mary who cut off his tongue. It was one of his, or her dog. Every night following the first murder, for 30 consecutive days, a man who had been involved in the killing of Mary Shaw ended up dead. All with their tongues cut out, and a dog was responsible. For outside their homes, fresh tracks could be seen of tiny little dog feet walking from Mary's grave to each person's house. But it did not end there. Mary's ghost also rose up to haunt and plague the family of those men.
Does this story ever freaking end, or does it keep going and going?
She took revenge on the children and wives of the murderous fiends who killed her. This time, family members or neighbors said they'd seen the shadow or a faint outline of a woman walking in shredded tatters of clothing and garish makeup made to look like a ventriloquist dummy.
Wow.
Her gray hair flowing in the wind, and in her hand, a butcher's knife.
Mortimer.
All the victims were found the same way, with their mouths agape and their tongues cut out.
Mortimer.
Apparently, they'd been in mid-scream when Mary cut out their tongues. And that's why, to this day, the residents of Ravenspur will not speak Mary Shaw's name. And they tell their children not to speak her name, for they know that Mary will listen to them in their sleep and cut off their tongue to avenge the ghastly deed that was done to her. And that's the story.
Mary Shaw. Mary Shaw. Mary Shaw.
Mary Shaw.
Okay, we're putting it to the test. Mary Shaw. You know, she gives us, Mortimer, she gives us dummies a bad name.
Yeah, she pretty much does.
Jeez, we're not that bad. Are we that bad, Mortimer?
No, not that bad. Never killed a soul in my life.
Yeah, but why do you only have those 2 teeth? Have you been biting somebody?
I like taking a pinch of snuff every once in a while.
That's a frightening face right there.
Yeah.
So tell us, folks, are you enjoying any of us dummies tonight on I Can't Talk, Abnormal Alabama? And we're also streaming this on Facebook as well as YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, people, you've got to, or we're going to send Mary Shaw your way. So I bet our big buddy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean big buddy, our buddy, oh, I don't know why I keep saying big buddy, just our buddy, Mortimer, has more dummy stories to share.
Yeah. Let's see, what should I tell next? Now there is a creepy book I read
I thought you
back
wrote
in the
creepy
early
books.
90s. Oh, I read them too.
I thought you wrote creepy books, Kit.
But other people
Oh,
read
wait a
them
minute,
too.
You need to put a plug in for your boss behind you there.
Yeah. MyHauntedDolls.com. Be sure to go check the books out in our store, Steve.
See? He's trying to sound like a gangster now.
Yeah.
Hey, Mortimer. What's the matter with your face?
There we go.
Why?
My face.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why is our skin so similar to that picture? Why we have the same texture? What's going on? I thought we were alive.
We're all dolls.
No, I'm real.
Well, maybe I'm real too.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. There's Kevin Kane, writer, My Haunted Dolls. He writes a lot. And he talks a lot too. He's not just a writer. Old guy's a talker. Yakety yak, 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 yak. I bet he's gonna yak for another hour and a half telling us some scary dummy stories.
Yeah.
I would like to give a shout out to Brandon Lee Moore of Blount County Bigfoot Research. We're going to bring Sasquatch on the show one day. Yes, we need to do that. We need some special guests. So one day our big buddy Bigfoot, BBB, is going to be joining us. Right now, I'm Ralph Mann, and over here next to me, the old redhead with a huge Alfredine human ears, that's none other than Mortimer Snurd. So how you doing, Mortimer?
I'm doing pretty good tonight.
And he's already shared a couple of stories with us, and he's got several more lined up. I'm just kind of here just to kind of be here while he tells these stories. So if anybody has anything they'd like to comment, please share with us what you're thinking. And by the way, it's Tuesday night. Do you know where your dummies are?
Shall I talk about some famous ventriloquists? Creepy dolls?
You better do something, because the people will get bored if you don't.
Okay, here we go. In literature, we have one that actually took control of the speaker instead of the speaker controlling him. In the book, Pen. Now, most people might remember this book as a movie from Canada back in the 80s featuring Terry O'Quinn as a ventriloquist doctor. But it was adapted from this fantastically unnerving horror novel from the 80s about a family with a history of mental illness and the anatomy doll that the main character's father uses to teach his children, Leon and Ursula, about the facts of life. However, when an accident leaves Leon and Ursula on their own in the mansion, the two of them slip further into madness and some lurid behavior centered around their anatomical doll, dummy friend. It's worth saying that Pen's escapades in the book are a lot more graphic than in the movie, which cut back on the incredibly bizarre love triangle between Pen and the siblings. And this only serves to make Pen an even creepier figure, even if it makes the book a bit more difficult to read, especially if you scare easy. So check out that book or movie entitled Pen. He's a life-size ventriloquist dummy. A lot bigger than I am.
Well, there's very few that can say that there. Oh, I was talking about Kevin, not you, Mortimer. Sorry, Mortimer. I was talking about my old buddy Kevin.
You're just a funny little man. Funny.
Funny. So there's been a lot of now. Didn't even Twilight Zone had a show about a ventriloquist, didn't they?
They had a couple of shows.
Oh, really? A couple of shows?
Yeah.
Have you got those? Do you have the synopsis of those shows in front of you there, Mortimer?
And I have some photos too.
Well, there's no doubt that the people that watch our live stream like Dummies because they've been watching Kevin and Kelsey for a long time, and they're bigger dummies than we are.
You can't argue with that.
Well, you could, but you'd be losing the argument.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Twilight Zone.
Twilight. You said there's a couple. I was familiar with one where the guy couldn't get rid of the dummy. Didn't he try to? I remember a little bit about it. It was a pretty good show. That old Rod Sterling boy, he could do a show, couldn't he?
Yes, he could. And he did Night Gallery too.
Oh, I forgot about Night Gallery. That was what he was doing later in life. Was Night Gallery.
Yeah. But one of the episodes.
Do I have something in my eye?
A piece of wood.
Oh no, I think it's plastic.
Or maybe some paint. Okay. Now there was one episode of the Twilight Zone called Caesar and Me.
Caesar and Me?
With this creepy looking fella.
I remember him.
And
he's well dressed.
Yeah, he is.
Very well dressed. He's a snazzy little dude, isn't he?
Yeah. The Twilight Zone used this dummy as a villain twice. This time the dummy is playing Little Caesar, who is owned by Jonathan West, a ventriloquist so bad a little girl makes fun of him. But Caesar talks Jonathan into a life of crime. They get overheard by the little girl as she tips off the police. They are unsurprisingly unmoved by Jonathan's attempts to get Caesar to confess. Jonathan goes to jail, and Caesar tells the little girl to kill the landlady with poison darts. So that's one creepy little dude.
Man, I tell you what, he's dressed nice.
Yeah, he is.
I like that necktie he's got on.
And the other Twilight Zone, it was the same dummy that you see they changed up his clothes there.
So who's the dummy holding the dummy?
Yeah, let's see here. Looks like it's a man named Jerry. It says Jerry wants to get away from his dummy Willie. While his agent thinks he's having a breakdown, Jerry knows Willie's picking on his own, or talking on his own.
Well,
and that he's at the dog's mercy.
And that's what these guys don't understand is they can't get away from us. They don't own us. We own them. Learn the story. I remember that one.
He creates a new act with poopy goggles and locks Willie away in a trunk. This does not please Willie.
Oh.
Not to psychoanalyze an inanimate object, but Maxwell, or actually Willie, as he's known here.
He changed names.
Just
like I changed voices, he changed names.
Yeah. Well, that's the Twilight Zone. But there's jealousy at work here as Willie tricks Jerry into destroying poopy goggles and delivers unto Jerry a horrific punishment.
That's the background music. I'm not talking about poop. It's not poop. It's doo-doo. No, it's not doo-doo. Okay, let's go.
There's a movie that's kind of based on that story too. It's called Magic.
Oh, I remember. I don't think I ever saw the movie, but there he is, right there.
We watched it this weekend, and it stars Anthony Hopkins before he played Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, wow.
And he has this dummy here. And the dummy starts controlling him and his personality, causing him to kill until eventually he has to destroy himself to rid the world of the doll. And boy, that doll, he really cuts up too. With a knife.
So, there's a lot of movies out there. If you like Dummies, and I'm here to tell you, I know some of you women out there have actually married dummies before. I've heard you call your husbands dummies, so you must like Dummies pretty good. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I guess you do.
You know, you've heard that before, haven't you there, Mortimer? That,
yeah, I've heard that a lot.
You've heard that women say, I married a dummy.
Yeah, there's lots of dummies out there.
Yeah. So I know you like Dummies. So if you're watching this, give it the old thumbs up, like it, and share it. Would you please? Just for Mortimer and the Ralph Man.
Yeah. I know of another really terrifying puppet that is in a movie but also went out of control in real life. And that is the Poltergeist puppet. Do you remember this guy?
Oh, wait a minute. Nope, I don't think I missed him somewhere.
From the 1982 film Poltergeist.
Oh,
he is the doll that sits in the chair at the foot of the little boy's bed. And the boy gets so terrified of it that he throws a coat over it. Well, one night, he sits up in bed and the clown doll is missing from the chair. The little boy checks under the bed. He doesn't see anything. But when he sits back up, the clown doll is behind him on the bed and wraps its arms around his throat to try to choke him. Now, the young actor Oliver Robbins, who was playing the part, was supposed to just pretend like he's choking. But when the director yelled cut, and they started to move on to the next scene, one of the props people noticed that little Oliver was turning blue. The animatronic doll had lost control when the arms had actually tightened around the child's throat and really was choking him.
Really? Are you kidding?
They had to shut the thing off, completely unplug it, quickly get the arms off the young actor and get him back to consciousness. He came out okay, but they had to stop using that doll, and today it's in a glass case inside a collector's home out in Los Angeles somewhere.
Well, no, okay. Zach has his place in Las Vegas, so Zach doesn't have him.
No, it's not Zach. This is a different collector. In fact, it's the same guy. It's the same guy that runs, I believe it's called Horror's Hallowed Ground. And he shoots a lot of special features for DVD.
Oh, wow.
And he has that doll locked up in a cage.
Well, they try to lock me up in a cage. They're going to pay the consequences.
My spirit father lets me sit in a rocking chair all on my own.
Well, when Dr. K left for all day, I sat in his office chair. All day long. I played like I was the boss.
Well, that's good for you.
Don't tell anybody. Okay, so this is pretty interesting show, and it's good. It's pretty. I'm sure that Kelsey and Kevin are glad to be having a break tonight, not having to. They can just kick back, and we took over the show. So, what do you think, folks? Should we do the show and just fire Kelsey and Kevin and Mortimer? I can't say his name. Mortimer and I just. We can do that. We can do this show. We don't
but
need.
They help us talk and move.
We do not need those Homo sapiens.
I wonder if the little kitties are still watching.
I don't know. There's been no new comments. We might have scared them away.
They might have. But I can still Tell scary stories regardless.
Give them hell. You know, these kids are not quite as immature as you think they are. They can handle. You know, think of some of the cartoons we used to watch when we were kids.
Yeah, there were ventriloquists on TV.
That's right.
And funny dummies.
And I don't know about you, but we watched the old Frankenstein and werewolf movies and all that stuff when we were little bitty kids, but before we were teenagers.
Yeah, we did.
And did it ruin you?
No, it didn't bother me.
Well,
I enjoyed it.
Of course, some might say differently, but
No, I meant to ask what happened to Lady Catherine. I thought she was bringing on some dummies.
Well, she said she was, and then something came up. I don't know. Don't know what that is, but she has a scheduling issue.
Something always comes up with Lady Catherine.
Yep, it's a constant thing in her life. Okay, we're working on the second half hour of our big dummy show tonight. So I want to know, shall we let Mortimer keep telling stories?
Yes.
Okay, Mortimer, you go for it, buddy.
This story next is Puppet. And there it is. The Puppet. The puppet has always haunted me. It had a big head, and its face was made of wrinkled, flesh-colored rubber. The eyes were gigantic, bulging white orbs, and its black hair was made of some hard substance that didn't quite mesh with the rubbery head. The teeth were gigantic, pure white, and capable of moving up and down. The body and limbs were wooden, painted to resemble clothes, but the paint was faded. You could see the wood's natural brown in some places. Each arm and leg was a different length, but the hands and feet were pretty detailed. It was a loud, clattering sound whenever it moved. The puppet, as always, followed me. I don't mean it got up and chased me around the room or anything. I mean it kept showing up in my life. My earliest memory of it is from my first birthday. Although I obviously can't recall much of that day, I do remember that horrible puppet. I have no idea why it was there. I just remember it scared me to death, and I couldn't stop crying. A few years later, when I was finally able to talk, I asked my parents about it, and they flatly denied anything like that had ever happened on my first birthday. They must have thought lying about it would make things easier for me. The next time I saw it was when I was 3 years old. I was exploring a room filled with old stuff my parents had stored away, and I found a calendar. I don't remember the year. There was a photo for each month, but the only one I remember was October, like Halloween month. That puppet was the image for that month. I got scared and ran out of the room. I told my mom and tried to show her the calendar so that she'd know the puppet was real, but I could not find it. The room had been very messy, and I ran out of it so quickly that I knocked over piles of stuff. I guess the calendar just got buried. It happened again when I was 6 years old. In the middle of the night, I woke up from a nightmare. I was too scared to go back to sleep, so I went down to the living room and turned on the TV. An old black and white TV show was just ending, and when the commercial started, the puppet came on the screen. It was dancing while loud music played in the background. I screamed and started crying uncontrollably, but by the time my parents got downstairs, the puppet was gone. I did not see the puppet again for quite a while after that, but I kept having nightmares about it when I was 15. I decided to try to track it down using the internet to try to find information about the calendar, the commercial, or anything. No one had ever heard of it. But one day I got an instant message from someone I had never talked to before. The person's screen name was a random mash of numbers and letters, but their avatar was a picture of that puppet. "Glad that you still remember me," they said, then immediately signed off. They never contacted me or came back online again. When I was 20 years old, I was walking past a store that sold old toys and dolls, and in the front window I saw the puppet. I went inside and asked the clerk if he knew anything about the puppet's history, when it was made, where it was from, anything. The only thing he could tell me was that the puppet had just been sold to the store a few days before. He told me I could have it for $6. I wasn't sure what to do. It still scared me, but not having proof that it really existed seemed like a good idea. Or having proof of it seemed like a good idea. Not having it would be a bad idea. So I bought the puppet and took it home. For a while, I felt better. I regarded the puppet as an irrational childhood fear that, as an adult, I had managed to overcome. I even started to believe the explanations my parents had tried to give me. They said I must have seen it somewhere as a baby, and the image just became lodged in my subconscious. I must have imagined it in the calendar, they said. Perhaps I was dreaming when I saw it on the TV commercial. Maybe the person who contacted me online had just been playing a practical joke. I kept the puppet, but as I moved on in my life, I pretty much forgot about it. I finished college, settled down, and got married. Let me get this picture off so you can see me better, folks. There we go. And let me finish this story. My wife will be giving birth in a few weeks. I was cleaning up the spare room and preparing it for when the baby comes, when I found the puppet in the back of the wardrobe, dusty and abandoned. I did not want to leave it in my child's bedroom, so I picked it up and moved it to another place. As I was dusting it off, I noticed a faded inscription on the back. It read, "This is what he will look like." Before I could figure out what this meant, I heard my wife crying downstairs. I rushed to her side as she looked more upset than I had ever seen her before. Sobbing, she told me that the doctor had just called. There was a problem with the baby.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What problem? And,
It probably looked like that plastic puppet.
okay, young lady, you have your microphone muted over there.
Hey, that's a human.
Yeah, what is a Homo sapien doing with us? We're straight dummies. We are 100% straight dummies.
Yeah. Uh-oh, I think you just insulted that one. There we go.
Kevin has been entertaining. Kevin did what? Yeah, I don't. He's got some kind of headphone thing there. I don't know why he has the echo. You don't.
Well,
I don't hear that. Where I hear my
echo too.
I don't hear
From
echo.
everybody but Kelsey.
I don't
I hear
hear
Catherine echoing.
I don't hear echo from either one of you. I ain't got echo over here. I think it's all in your head.
I think it's Kelsey messing around. Or wouldn't had.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So what's up here? What's going on?
I can't understand.
What?
Everybody echoing.
She said, echoing.
Are we
Is that
echoing now?
better?
That's better.
You sound a lot better. I don't hear any echo now. Ah, there it is.
Okay, I'm going to take a break since I'm echoing and I'm creating the echo. Y'all continue on, and I'm just going to disappear for a few minutes so that people don't have to deal with the echo.
Ah, there it goes.
Sounded like he had a washing machine going or something.
I know.
I love you. You're so cute.
Well, thank you very much. Me and my two little teeth. Well, there's some teeth on the bottom there too, that somebody drew in my mouth.
Do you brush those teeth?
No, they just stay white on their own.
I need some of those teeth.
I'm straightening my throat over here. There we go. Trying to talk like this for an hour now, almost 45 minutes. Good grief.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I've had a little bit of computer problems. My computer didn't want to start up for some reason.
Do you have any?
It's mad at me because I haven't used it in 3 weeks or more.
Okay. Do you have any puppets to show?
I do not. I did not get a chance to go pick one up, but maybe I'll have one another time.
Okay. Well,
it's been a busy, hectic week, and it's only Tuesday.
uh-oh.
A lot is going on. Guess what?
Wow.
I'm ready for some spooky stuff.
Oh boy, spooky stuff. I love spooky stuff.
So what do you got? What story do you have?
Did you say what story?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got other stories here. I got some more of my famous creepy ventriloquist puppet pals to talk about.
All
Let's
right.
see. Let's see here. How about this old classic movie, The Devil Doll? The Devil Doll. Let me throw his picture up here. Ah, there he is.
Oh, he's kind of handsome.
He may look handsome, but he may look very handsome, but he's very deadly too. This was an oldie movie made back in, I believe, the 1940s. Nope. I went back too far. It's 1964.
1964.
Now the devil. Yeah. Now
we
the
were
Devil
not
Doll.
even
Nope. Now the Devil Doll is not a great movie, but it's still a fun movie to watch. It's not nearly as bad as most others that have appeared on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Despite apparently lifting the name for the dummy from the Dead of Night movie, Devil Doll is one of the few ventriloquist stories where the doll is unequivocally alive. Well, sort of. It's the trapped soul of the assistant murdered by the ventriloquist, who also wants to do the same thing to an heiress. So the dummy has to stop him. His solution involves soul switching, which doesn't really seem that much better than what the ventriloquist was doing in the first place. But hey, it's a horror movie. Now I mentioned The Dead of Night. That's another haunted, scary dummy movie. So let me talk about that for a minute. Let me get a picture up here.
Kind of hard not having opposable thumbs, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm having to use one hand here. No, wrong picture. Wrong picture, but we'll use that anyway. I'm missing a picture here. So, The Dead of Night. Now, that's actually a picture from the Twilight Zone, but we can use that while we talk about The Dead of Night because the dummy kind of looks the same there. Hugo is the ventriloquist dummy in The Dead of Night. Dead of Night is a horror anthology movie featuring 5 short tales ending with the ventriloquist dummy, which may be the UR example of creepy ventriloquist films. It's got the classic elements, uncertainty over whether the dummy is real or not, a possibly unhinged ventriloquist, a really creepy looking doll. Hugo causes his owner, Maxwell, to shoot another ventriloquist, Sylvester. Hugo tries to get a new job with Sylvester, which angers Maxwell enough to slap the dummy across the face. Can you believe that? And then when Hugo disappears, apparently under his own power, Maxwell attacks Sylvester. Moral of the story is, if you get jealous and try to stop your dummy from leaving you, you're going to end up in an insane asylum.
Maybe
All
I've already
right.
been there. I feel
There
like
we
I've
go.
been to one.
You feel like you've been to one?
Yes.
Well, at least you don't have your hand up a dummy making it talk.
Well,
We're wondering if we scared off our viewers. We had a lot of comments earlier, and now they disappeared. Oh, you got a puppet there? Ah, looks like the Grim Reaper. Oh, like a big black ghost. Or a little black ghost.
I think it's my dress.
I thought another puppet sat up back there, but that's a dog, isn't it?
Yes, that's Julia. Hold on, I'll move it where you can see her.
Yeah, and a cute little doggy.
She didn't feel good today. She had to go to the
Oh, poor little doggy.
She has what's known as shaken puppy syndrome.
Oh,
She has neurological disorder, and she's deaf and blind, and has been since birth. Don't know what happened to her before we got her, but she's happy, and she's a mama's baby.
ah, there you are. I thought you froze for a second there.
I may have.
I hope I don't freeze. I might freeze that. Hey. Oh, I got another creepy looking dummy picture here to share and tell about. How about this lovely lady right here?
That's scary.
Yes,
But
it
looks
is.
familiar.
This is from an episode of the old show, The Avengers. Now, let me tell the little storyline behind this one. Yes, this doll is called Henrietta. Henrietta appeared in the Avengers episode, How to Succeed at Murder. Henrietta has a simple plan: destroy the patriarchy by replacing male CEOs with their female secretaries. Ooh, a little bit of feminism there. One of her victims is J.J. Hooter. Funny name. Played by an actor, Christopher Benjamin, who was also in another episode of The Avengers. But apparently he has creepy dolls in his contract. Henrietta, with her husband, recruits competent women, gives them charm bracelets that kill, and orders the death of men in power. And she runs a fitness center. Because of course a ventriloquist dummy runs a fitness center, that happens every day, right? Her husband's name is Henry, which pretty much ruins any attempt to a twist ending. Henry and Henrietta. But that is a creepy looking lady there. Ugh. We already talked about Mary Shaw earlier. There's her face again. Now, who does it better, Henrietta or Mary Shaw?
They're both kind of creepy.
Yes, they both are. They both win the Creepy Award. We are almost at the top of the hour. I guess I should do a plug for this guy who's got his hand on my butt.
You better.
Go to Kevin Kane's website, myhauntedDolls.com, where all of my spirit doll family members are out there. Their books. you can go shop. If you put in myhauntedDolls.com, the first thing you'll see, hey, I'm talking without moving my mouth. There we go.
Were you being a ventriloquist for Kevin?
Huh?
Were you
Oh,
being a
yeah.
ventriloquist for Kevin?
We switched places, I guess. So the first thing you'll see when you go to My Haunted Dolls is right there. And click up there for the store, and you can find all kinds of books. My Haunted Collection and the sequel, My Haunted Collection, The Dark Side. And The Legends of Indian Narrows. Those have got good ghost stories in them. And you've got Patty Doll. Tammy Baby. Crimson the Blood Painting. Not to be confused with Crimson Tide. This is about a haunted painting from Selma. And then I guess I should plug old Wooden Head's stuff here. I don't know if he's going to come back on. Let's see here. Is his book still out here? The Dating the Dead. There's one of the covers there. Dating the Dead and Spectrophilia. And he is also the Wish Doctor. Or you can buy his wish machines. It's wishdoctor.com. Is that right?
TheWishDR.com.
Yes, thewishdr.com. All right. Now, should I tell another scary story?
Tell us a story.
Tell us a story. Okay, let's see what I can do here. I'm going to have to bring on another picture here to go with my story, so people have something creepy besides me to look at. Let's see here.
They got me to look at. I'm kind of
Well, yeah.
no makeup on, worked hard all day, moved the house.
Let's see. Well, that's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share a story. Let's see. I'm going to share one about the marionette. Do you know what a marionette is?
I do.
It's a puppet. It's
a
puppet like me.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, kind of like me, but it's on strings and make it dangle around like this, and they dance all goofy.
It's like Pinocchio or pronounced Pinocchio.
Pinocchio. All proper.
Pinocchio.
Okay. And here's a picture of a creepy marionette to go along with the story. There we go.
Creepy.
Creepy. And now let me pull up the story of the marionette. This one's a goodie. I think Mr. Kevin might have shared this on his other podcast. Here we go. A young Japanese girl named Ayumi was casually walking around in downtown Tokyo when she noticed a beautiful doll in the display window of an antique shop. As she peered in the window, she realized it was not a doll, but a marionette made from fine porcelain. There were strings attached to its arms and legs so that it could be manipulated like a puppet. The marionette was dressed in a luxurious sapphire blue Victorian gown. What was so striking about the marionette's face was that it looked exactly like Ayumi. It had the same long black hair, dazzling green eyes, and thick black eyelashes. Ayumi was so fascinated by the marionette that she could not resist buying it. When she opened the door and walked inside, the shopkeeper came over to the counter. "What a gorgeous doll you have in the display," said Ayumi. "May I ask how much it is?" "Actually, it's not for sale," said the shopkeeper, kind of gruffy. "Why not?" said Ayumi. "Because it's too dangerous for little girls to play with," he told her, taking the marionette off the display and setting it down on the counter. "Now kindly leave." Ayumi was about to turn away when she saw the shopkeeper bend down under the counter to search for something. Ayumi could not resist the opportunity. Throwing caution to the wind, she quickly snatched the marionette and dashed out of the shop before the owner knew what was happening. Yummy was panting hard when she got home. Her mother was reading a book and sipping some tea at the kitchen table. She looked up and saw that Yummy was holding a marionette. "What is that, dear?" she asked. Mother, I found this wonderful marionette puppet at a little shop downtown. Isn't it pretty? And it looks just like me." Yummy thrust the doll into her mother's arms so that she could look at it more closely. "Well, that's great," said her mother. "But Mommy is busy reading now, so why don't you go play with it upstairs?" Yummy grabbed the marionette and ran to her room, closing the door behind her. She was smiling with glee. "I think I'll name you Little Me," she said, as she started tugging on the wooden base that held the strings. After a few weeks, Yummy began to get bored of playing with the marionette. On her birthday, she received a new doll from her parents. After that, the marionette was left to collect dust on her shelf. One night, after Yummy had fallen fast asleep, she was awakened by a soft voice. "Yummy, why don't you play with me anymore?" said the voice. Yummy jumped out of bed and switched on the lights, but the room was empty. She looked suspiciously at the marionette. It stared back at her, its face blank. Yummy began to feel awfully nervous. The next day, she took all of her dolls and placed them in a box in the attic. She did not want to take any chances. The next night, Yummy was awakened by the same voice. This time, it sounded more menacing. "Yummy, why don't you play with me anymore?" She turned over in bed and found herself face to face with the marionette. "Yummy," the doll hissed. "You didn't listen, did you? Why couldn't you play with me? Oh, well, now I'll just have to play with you." Suddenly, Yummy's skin started to feel tight and hard. Her arms and legs twisted and turned. Her joints creaked and she started to shrink. Long strips wrapped around her wrists and ankles. Her skin felt as smooth as fine porcelain. She tried to scream, but her mouth would not open. As she watched in horror, the marionette began to change too. It was becoming more lifelike and real. Its strings disappeared, and its porcelain skin turned to flesh. When morning came, the Yummy could not. Then it picked her up and began bashing her head against the wall. Bang, bang. Then it picked her up and began dragging the helpless girl over to the top of the stairs and threw her over the banister. Yummy fell to the ground with a mighty crash, and her head shattered into pieces. "Mom," called the marionette, "my doll broke. I can't play with it anymore." Yummy's mother came running out of the kitchen. "Oh, what a shame," she said. "Well, it's your own fault. You should not treat your toys so roughly. We'll just have to throw it in the garbage. What a shame. It was such a pretty, pretty marionette." So could you tell what happened there? The marionette the real one switched places with poor Yummy. And poor Yummy got shattered and broken and thrown in the garbage.
I think I'm freezing up a little bit.
You're freezing it? Well, you look okay to me.
I think it's just a little lag in my internet here. I'm right here by the router. I don't know what's going on with it. My computer was acting up earlier. That's what took me so long to get on. The
Well, that's
I think I've got too many pictures on it.
well, that's a crying shame. Do you have any creepy puppet stories you'd like to share?
I do not, but I have something that's coming up to me right now that you might want to see.
Ooh, what is that?
It's an Oreo.
An Oreo.
I said, okay, go.
It's an Oreo, a kitty cat.
She doesn't know you're
Meow.
going
Meow, meow, meow.
Meow, meow, meow.
Take a kitty cat.
Meow, meow, meow. Are you gonna talk? Are you gonna talk, Oreo? Would you want to hunt me down?
Now, is that the same cat from way back when we were in that old building?
No, that was Spirit, and she's running around here somewhere.
Ah, okay, yeah, Spirit, that was her name.
And she's orange.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's been a while. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, she's orange. She's running around here. She was in here on my lap earlier. But I think she went back outside because there's food outside. They like to eat outside. Well, we feed them outside.
I love the kitty cats, except when Kevin's cat, Maddie, tried to steal my hat. And I took it off earlier.
Maddie don't like me either.
She doesn't like ladies for some reason.
That's
Maybe because she's female.
She may be jealous.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's Oreo. She comes and visits us sometimes.
It's
I
a
don't like
cutie pie.
I don't like cats. I don't like dogs. But for some reason, they love me.
You don't like cats, but you have them in your house?
Yep. Yep. And let me tell you something. They do not have a litter box. They are trained to go outside to potty.
But that's got a smell.
No, they go outside to potty.
Oh,
They
okay.
do not,
Oh, yeah.
they do not potty in the house. You see my little ghost dog? She looks like a ghost right there.
I see him up there.
That's a her. That's Juliet.
Oh, her, Juliet. Okay. Where's Romeo?
Romeo, her brother, I don't know what happened to him.
There really is a Romeo. Oh, I thought I was just going to joke for a minute there.
There was.
Well, that's a shame.
But we didn't have Romeo. We just got Juliet. And she's cute.
Yes, she is.
And she's rotten.
Well, I've got some more famous, scary puppets here to talk about, too, before the next story. Let me see, who's next here on this list?
Kelsey says he's having internet problems.
Uh-oh. I hope that gets fixed. There's actually a mean puppet in the comic strip Batman. And there he is right there, that chunky fella. That's kind of creepy looking for a comic book character.
What's his name?
Who is this guy? Let's see here. Batman. Scarface, the ventriloquist from the Batman comics. Sometimes all a weakling needs to become a villain is a mastermind to tell him what to do. Sometimes that mastermind is an evil ventriloquist dummy. When separated from Scarface, Arnold Wesker, the ventriloquist, is quiet and unassuming since he sees the dummy as the criminal mastermind who forces him into the life of a crime boss. Scarface has two important weaknesses. Number one, he can't say the letter B, leading him to call his nemesis Gatman instead of Batman. And number two, he and Arnold can get distracted by arguing with one another. Boy, don't you just hate that when your dummy just gets uncontrollable and starts arguing with you and it's just a pain in the wooden tail. All right, who's next on the famous creepy dummy list? Let's see here. We have, wait. We have my creepy twin brother here, Slappy the dummy. Now, I bet you recognize him if you ever saw Goosebumps.
I did.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I lost his picture. There we go. Slappy, the creepy Goosebumps mannequin, has his own little story here. A couple of things will pretty much ensure that a dummy will be evil. If the wood it's made out of is cursed, and if someone was dumb enough to put a soul into it. Slappy was made of the wood from a coffin. Did you know that? He's made from wood from a coffin.
I did not know that.
And a sorcerer transferred his soul into it when he died. This is not a happy dummy. The good news is that he does not want to kill. The bad news is that he does want to enslave, and he's going to be very rude about it. And that was Slappy. He was in the Goosebumps book, and he was also in the TV show, and I think he was in the movie, at least in the last Goosebumps movie that came out.
I didn't see the movies.
We saw most of the series and that first movie, but not the second one, because I wasn't sure if it'd be any good.
Well, what was that movie? But it was a doll. The
Doll?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but he reminded me of a dummy. It was, and they wound up being the guy hiding and walking behind the walls, and they hired the babysitter to watch the doll.
Oh, that's called The Boy.
Yeah,
That's a good movie, too. I didn't think about that one.
that's a good movie.
That's a really good movie. It had a good twist there because I thought it was going to be a haunted dummy, and it turned out to be something else in the wall.
Yes, a scary guy who killed a lot of people.
Yeah, we watched the sequel to that movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but it just wasn't quite as good as the first one at all.
I have not seen the sequel yet. There was another one I wanted to watch that I sent to you the other day, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I don't have it pulled up here. I can look. I don't remember what it's called either.
But I thought it looked good.
But there's another, I think we have another movie dummy here we can talk about.
I'll look it up while you do another dummy story.
Okay. Another famous one is called The Middleman. And that's him right there.
He looks familiar.
Now let's see what he's from here. He's on my list here of famous crazy mannequin dummies and things. No wonder he looks familiar. He's made to look like Vlad the Impaler, the original Dracula. This is Vladdy from the vampiric puppet Lamentation, otherwise called the Middleman. When Vlad the Impaler and his lover Elizabeth Rousset died, their blood seeped into the wood of their beloved puppets and trapped their souls in them for eternity. People stopped putting souls into dolls because this happens. While Lizzie was tracked down and sealed away, Vladdy, the puppet, mind you, was bought and sold repeatedly, leaving a trail fraught with madness, fever, pestilence, everything, even suicide in his wake. The dolls can possess people, and they want to marry while on the arms of two people in love. This will both restore them to human bodies and unleash an eternal night of blood. So that's Vlad the Impaler in the form of a puppet.
Well, you know, if the puppet makes me too mad, all I'm going to do is unleash some termites on it.
What? Termites? Ah! I hate termites. But I'm mostly plastic and cloth, so I'm probably okay.
Then I'll unleash some moths on
No moths. I hate moths. No, 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 no.
They eat holes in you.
Ah, no holes in me. I've got enough holes. Well, I guess I can tell another scary puppet story.
Oh, Let Me In. That's what the name of that movie was.
Let Me In. Oh, yes, yes, yes. That vampire movie. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm gonna try to watch it tonight.
It's a good movie. I really like Chloe Moretz, who plays the vampire. Okay, let's see. I've got a scary story about a sock puppet.
I started to bring a sock puppet.
Oh, that might have been good. Well, this one looks kind of goofy, but don't be fooled. Look at that. Doesn't that look sweet? But, what were you about to say?
I said it does look sweet.
Yes, but let's hear the story behind the sock puppet. Many years ago in Ireland, there was a wealthy man who lived in a small village. He owned every single plot of land surrounding the village and rented them out to poor farmers at a tidy profit. The man lived in the biggest house in the village with his lovely wife, his two strong sons, and his small, sickly daughter. He was kind to all of his children and treated his wife like a queen. However, in business, he was ruthless and cunning. He made a lot of money by charging the villagers high rents and treated all of his tenants as if they were slaves. If any one of them was behind with their rent, he would throw them out of their houses without a moment's notice. The villagers hated the rich man and despised his cruel and miserly ways. He often threw lavish parties, inviting only his friends and family, and living like a king while the poor villagers had to scrimp and save just to keep their bellies full. All they could afford was a meager diet of bread and potatoes. One year there was a potato blight, and all of the crops were affected. As winter set in, the villagers were starving to death. The rich man paid no attention to the troubles of his tenants and responded by raising the rents. Then, as if that wasn't enough, he threw a Christmas party for his friends and family, where they enjoyed an enormous feast and drank sarcastic toasts to the plight of the starving tenants. That night, one villager arrived at the door bearing a gift. He said it was a Christmas present for the rich man's daughter. The girl opened the present and found a sock puppet inside. The villager said he had knitted the puppet himself and asked if he might have some food in return. The rich man handed the villager one single solitary potato and sent him on his poor way. Although it was a hideous old rag, the daughter seemed to love the sock puppet. She named it Charlie and put it on her hand, showing it to everyone at the party. That night, after the party was over, the father was going to bed. He paused at his daughter's bedroom door and looked in on her. She was fast asleep. Just as he was about to leave, something disturbed him. The sock puppet was still on her hand, and its plastic eyes seemed to be staring straight at him. He ignored it and walked out, thinking he was just imagining things. That night, as the rich landlord and his wife slept in their chamber, they heard a knock at the door. It was their daughter. "Mama, Papa, Charlie says he needs to speak with you," she said. They saw their daughter walk in, blood dripping from one hand, and the sock puppet on the other, staring at them both. "Charlie already spoke with Jacob and Michael," said the daughter, moving the sock puppet's mouth as if it was speaking. "Now he must speak with you." For weeks, the rich man's house lay eerily silent. The villagers saw no candles in the windows and no smoke from the chimney. Eventually, they decided to check on the family, and what they discovered shocked them to their very core. In the living room sat the two brothers. Both were strong young men, but had their heads twisted off and placed on their hands as if the heads were puppets. The same had happened to the parents, who were found dead and decaying in their beds. The most disturbing sight of all was the little girl. She was sitting in the corner of the bedroom, her severed head balanced upon one hand, smiling sweetly with her eyes wide open. On the other hand was the sock puppet. Due to the rigor mortis, her arms were sticking out, and it seemed as if the two hands were speaking to each other. Just recently, a family moved into the same house. They moved to the country because the family doctor said it might help their sick daughter recover from her illness. Everything was fine until one night when the mother heard the daughter calling out to her. Before the mother opened the door, she heard her daughter talking. She peeked in and the girl was fast asleep. The mother paused before speaking. "I have no idea," she said. "The poor little thing must have been talking in her sleep. By the way, do you know where she got that awful sock puppet? She was wearing it on her hand, and it almost seemed like it was staring straight at me." What do you think of that story? Oh, you're on mute.
I forgot to unmute me. That's kind of freaky.
Kind of freaky. The sock puppet is still out there, killing people and turning them into puppets with their heads in their hands.
I can talk. That'd be kind of freaky.
Well, will we ever see Kelsey and Ralph again?
I don't know. Ralph was so excited about being on television tonight.
Yeah. I
hope he's okay.
guess I gotta be solo puppet tonight. Yeah.
Two dummies.
I wonder if maybe I cursed his computer.
You could have. You could have. Mine didn't want to work tonight either. I don't know what's up with it.
Oh, well. Let's see. Are there any more creepy puppet stories to share? We're going to just look right here and see. Just a few seconds here.
Let's see. A famous puppet was Lamb Chop.
Ah, Lamb Chop.
I remember a story about Lamb Chop.
Oh.
I've got to go find it.
Was it creepy or?
Yes, if I remember correctly, it was creepy.
Ooh. I've got a creepy story here. You know, people for some reason think clowns are really creepy.
Yes. Will meet me for just a second. The dog is going to bark.
While you're looking for that, I'll go ahead and share this story about the clown puppet. Ah, there's my picture. Okay, the clown puppet. There was a married couple who had 3 daughters. The oldest was 15, the middle one was 12, and the youngest was 7 years old. For Christmas, the oldest daughter asked for a laptop, the middle daughter asked for an iPad, and the youngest daughter asked for a small doll. On Christmas Day, they all unwrapped their presents beneath the Christmas tree. The oldest and the middle daughter received what they had asked for, but the youngest daughter was surprised to receive a clown puppet. However, the clown puppet was so cute that she decided to keep it and treasure it as a wonderful toy. But 2 days later, the youngest girl disappeared. The next Christmas, the oldest daughter asked for an iPad, and the middle daughter asked for a clown puppet in memory of her little sister. 2 days later, the middle daughter disappeared. The next Christmas, the last remaining daughter asked for a clown puppet in memory of her younger sisters. 2 days later, she too disappeared. The parents became very poor and were forced to sell their furniture for money. One day, they went into the attic looking for something else they could sell. There, in a dark recess of the attic, they saw the clown puppet. It was sitting on a throne made from lollipop sticks, and arranged all around it were the severed heads of all 3 missing daughters.
No wonder people fear clowns.
So, the moral of this story is just don't ask for a bleeping clown puppet for Christmas, dadgummit.
Bug might ask for a clown puppet.
She might just disappear.
You might just disappear. She said, please don't give her a clown puppet. I'm not seeing the story that I saw.
Well, uh-oh.
But I'll keep looking for it.
Did you know that there was a creepy puppet in the TV show Doctor Who?
There was a what?
A creepy puppet in an episode of Doctor Who.
I did not know that.
And his name was Mr. Sin. Mr. Sin. Pretty neat name, huh?
That is a very neat name.
And we have a picture of Mr. Sin here. So we can share his little story here. There he is. He looks like, there he is. He looks like a little Asian guy. So, what else would a Chinese magician in Victorian London do with a cyborg from the future, but use it as a ventriloquist dummy? Well, pretty much anything else, but Lee Sin Chang chose ventriloquism. Mr. Sin had a slight defect in that he really likes to stab people. Stabbing. This wasn't even the worst choice people make in this story. Chang's master escaped 51st century war criminal Magnus Grill gives Mr. Sin a laser rifle. There you go. He's already a crazy dummy. Give him a rifle. Mr. Sin is even less discriminate with the rifle than he was with the knife. Bang, bang, bang. I guess I must have missed that episode of Doctor Who. I didn't know anything about that crazy killer dummy. Oh, you're on mute.
I keep forgetting. What do you think about Sesame Street? That's a lot of puppets. There's got to be a haunted Sesame Street puppet.
Well, if there is, I haven't seen one yet. Even though that Oscar the Grouch is kind of creepy.
And you got count.
Yes, count 1, 2, 3.
And then you got the Muppets. I wonder if there is
There might be.
because some of them people have died.
There could be. I've often wondered if Jim Henson might haunt some of his puppets, whatever they are. Let's see. I think I shared all the famous puppets, but I have another scary story out here if you'd like me to share that.
Go for it.
Looks like we got about 30 minutes left, so I'll go ahead and throw up a creepy puppet picture to enjoy while we tell this story. Alrighty, now this one, that picture does not go with the story. It's just there for looks while I share this story. And I believe this one is called My Little Devil. Do you know that feeling you get when you move into a new house thinking that you are going to start fresh? A fresh new house, new place, new beginning, right? Well, at least that's what I thought. This house was not the best, but with no job yet, there was really nothing I could do. I guess this is the house you would try and stay away from because of its somber appearance and eerie atmosphere that it gives off. But let me get on with this story and tell you about my experience inside this house. Standing in front of my new home, taking in every detail while the movers take my belongings inside, and my little daughter sits on the swing, giggling happily. I could never ask for anything more. I was happy my daughter was happy. Nothing could ruin this day. Boy, was I wrong. The day went by fast with nothing interesting happening. Now I am sitting here reading a book after tucking my daughter into bed. Bang! I jumped up. That sounded like it came from Emily's room. I ran as fast as I could to check on her. I opened her door slowly. Emily! No answer. She was just standing there, little giggles escaping her lips as I took a step forward. But this wasn't my little princess laughter. No, these sounded evil, filled with malice and a longing growing each time I took a step closer and closer to her. When I was just a foot away from her, her laughter grew loud and demonic. It echoed through the room, making me feel like my eardrums were going to burst at any moment. Then it just stopped. Silence. No sound could be heard except my fast-beating heart and short, quick breaths. She slowly started turning towards me, but with her head facing the floorboard. Mommy, she said. A little voice in my head was telling me to run while I still could, but I ignored it. She lifted her head and stared right at me. I was frozen in shock, fear and disgust. This putrid thing standing in front of me was not my daughter, at least not anymore. Its eyes were fully black like coal, like some sort of crazy puppet. No sign of light, and her once beautiful blue eyes were gone. Its long hair was a tangled mess with blood and dirt in it. Its body was covered with a neatly white dress and was now covered in blood and thorn. It had deep cuts and barbed wire wrapped around its arms and legs. But the worst thing about it was its face. It was mutilated, long, deep cuts on her cheeks that bled as her smile grew wider. When she saw my fear, screws coming out of her neck like a collar, and bloody tears coming out of her eyes, burning scars into her face like acid. Not to mention the butcher's knife in her hand that was glinting in the moonlight. I was knocked out of my daze when she lunged at me, and the knife lodged into my stomach. I fell to my knees with tears running down my face And weekly I said, I love you to the thing that used to be my precious little angel. Her angel turned into a crazy symphony. Ralph Man is back.
Ralph!
Had a few little technical difficulties here, but we got it straight.
No.
When you came back, we started echoing.
I'm sorry?
When you came back, we started echoing.
Again?
Yes, you got another page open with a video showing.
No, I don't. It's against my religion.
He's got a religion.
Yes. Yeah.
I've got a bunch of dummies.
Yeah. Cover them two teeth. Ha 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 ha. And she's pointing the wrong way, by the way.
I have not pointing at y'all.
No. you'd make a she would make a poor weather lady.
Over here, no, wait, up there.
It's just the opposite. Oh wow.
Well, I've told a bunch of puppet stories.
Oh, you're all time telling a story or two. And in the world, you know, we call stories that you tell, we call them lies. He told a story. Oh, he lied.
Tall tales and legends. This light is kind of bright on me. Let me see if I can turn it down.
Yeah, you have a shiny head, don't you?
Yeah. That's a little bit better.
Look at that bug-eyed, red-headed. What is that thing?
You talking about me or Kevin?
Is that
Ginger.
is that what is that? Oh, wait a minute. It's a dummy.
Dummy. Just like you.
It's a ginger and it has no soul.
Oh, we're dummies and proud of it.
Yes, we are. Look, I even have a little Adam's apple up here.
That's no little Adam's apple. that Adam's apple is almost bigger than your head.
You're one to talk about big square head.
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. And ha 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 again. Look at that big mouth over there.
I'm watching you.
That's one weird puppet. Dummy dog.
Oh, you've got
whatever.
it off. Mr.
We have this is the first time that we've given Kelsey and Kevin a break and us dummies took over. 2 dummies replacing 2 dummies. Is my hair straight? How does my hair look?
Yes, it's always straight.
Oh, okay.
Chiseled in and painted on.
I've got more hair than Kelsey does. Is that what you call a belly laugh? Okay, in the name of dummies, let's continue. We have 20 more minutes.
20 more.
Dummy, scary, ventriloquist dummies coming to life and screwing with people's lives stories. In other words, Mortimer Snurd is going to lie to you some more.
Well, let's see what I can do here. I think I might have one more story shoved in here. Not up my butt like his hand is, but somewhere on this screen here.
Well, I know Kevin likes to play with people's butts.
Hey! Kelsey likes to play a lot more than that.
Oh, I bet.
I Here's a story from the point of view of a dummy. A crazy dummy.
What?
Are you ready?
What? What?
Here's the story. It's called No Escape.
Oh no.
Human, such stupid creatures, always giving out of the ordinary situations logical reasons, like when you're home alone and hear a door click close, but blame it on the wind even though you know that there's nothing to cause that wind, or in your peripheral vision, you see someone or something standing there, but turn around and there's nothing. No sign of anyone being there. So you think your mind is playing tricks on you, immediately putting out the fire. It's not all that it seems.
I think that he froze.
Did I freeze?
Are you cold over there?
No, am I still frozen?
No, you're doing okay now.
Okay. Do you want to know how I know all this about you pathetic things?
No, I don't care to know it all.
It is because I am always there, watching and waiting for the right moment to get you. But I like to watch first, as that little light grows bigger and bigger, and as your sanity drops, little by little, each passing second. It is very entertaining watching you squirm like an experiment. So innocent, not aware of what is coming.
Tick-tock.
At that moment, when everyone thinks you have finally gone insane, and you're alone trying to figure it all out,
No.
will be the time I strike. When you feel my presence, or see my mutilated face reflecting in the computer screen,
Mutilated face?
screaming for help as I walk to you, hoping that someone, anyone will help, but they can't. You are stuck here, hiding your own inner demons with no escape. Your screams getting drowned out and gurgling down as you start choking on your own blood. It's a stab of a knife in and out of your body continuously, blood splattering everywhere, painting the room red. But I go for the main prize, the main thing you humans use to survive. Your heart. You weak, worthless creatures should not be alive. So naive and gullible, believing anything.
That's
That
just terrible.
sound, that wonderful sound, crushing as I rip your rib page open, and inside mixed in with the beautiful red is your slow thumping heart.
What?
My grin grows wider as I stare at it. Excitement running through me as I grip onto your heart, ripping it out of your chest.
Can you hear this guy over there?
You know that they say you're not fully dead, that your brain is still awake for a few minutes.
You gotta have a brain.
Let's hope that you can still feel the pain, because I don't want the blood until the light leaves your eye. Now, is it really me? Or is it just the fear that you have let build up, eating you up inside, trying to get out? The fear of crazy puppets.
So, Mortimer.
Yes,
Am I supposed to take you seriously?
you better.
You snaggle-tooth redhead.
Look in the mirror with face.
Ha 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 ha. Wow. So, has anybody at all enjoyed the dummy show tonight?
I hope so.
Hit the like button. Let us know something. Talk to us.
Talk to us.
Speak with us.
Oh. Or we'll get you. I mean, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, that's a strange looking beast over there with that red hair and that
Look at you.
Look at that snaggle-tooth little
Shut
headed little. Well, I must say though, I have to admit though, I really have to admit that Mortimer is a lot better looking than Kevin.
And Ralphie Murphy's name and looking with all that hair.
Okay, I'm going to sign off again. I'm just going to back out because Carl Green just said that reverb is a bit much, so let me let you have it.
Oh, okay. So there goes Ralph, man. Oh, and now we have no more echo. What is going on?
I do not know what's going on.
Ooh.
Unless it's the microphone messing up.
It might be. Maybe he's got the volume wrong or something.
Let me look and see.
But he never admits it, does he?
Of course not.
I wonder if there's any other famous dummies.
Okay, I see what he needs to do. I want to message him and tell him what to do.
Well, okay then. Let's see, are there any other famous dummies out here that are creepy that I could talk about? We've talked about Slappy. Talked about the Twilight Zone dummies.
Okay, is this better?
Let me see.
Is this better?
No.
It's still back?
Just a bit of echo.
On the bottom? Under your
Yeah.
If you'll click it.
Click what?
The thing that looks like the
Okay, wait a minute. I got it right there.
Okay, now
How's that?
that's much better.
Is that much better?
Yes.
Wait a minute. My mouth wasn't moving. I can't talk without moving my lips. What's the matter with you?
You silly
You were ventriloquisting for Kelsey. Right.
Now, Carl says that Catherine's audio is reverbing.
Oh,
Mine's reverbing?
Carl Green, Kelsey and Kevin are not here tonight.
Yes.
Oh, now he says it's fine, but I am the Ralph man, and this ugly-looking snaggletooth is Mortimer Third. We're giving Kelsey and Kevin a break tonight and talking about our ilk, Dummies. So us two dummies have replaced the other dummies for the show.
I've told a lot of stories tonight. I wonder, does Ralph man with his mouth over there, Ralph Mouth, if he's got any stories to tell?
Okay, nothing else is being adjusted. All right. So somebody shared some kind of link here. I don't know who that is.
It might be one of those fraudulent things.
Carl, it's not Mutt and Jeff.
Mutt and Jeff.
Man and Mortimer.
Mortimer.
Okay, I got distracted because I had an internet problem. Go ahead there. You got time for another story there, Kevin. Mortimer. Jeez.
Let me see if there's another one here.
Yes.
I'm starting to run out here.
And Mortimer Snurd.
I'm starting to run out of stories here. Let's see. I might could do one. I think there's one more here. Let's see here. Oh, I've got a puppet creepy poem here called The Puppet Master. Little Sally was always very happy and at times could be quite snappy. She had all her friends with their smiling faces and pulled the stitches from out of their places. And then one day there was a horrible smell, but Sally could hardly even tell.
Well,
She was
what that smell was.
She was just sitting and watching little Johnny from next door.
If she had gas.
She was just sitting and watching little Johnny from next door. She wanted to be his friend. She would call and call, but he always resisted. But Sally insisted and insisted. But then one day, little Johnny disappeared. It was what Sally always feared. But at least now she had something in his place. A little puppet, Johnny, with a smile on his face. And that's the end of that poem.
Well, that didn't last long.
Well, now
How now, brown
you
cow?
don't have any creepy dummy stories over there? I can try to cook something up here.
I'm looking at a creepy dummy story right there.
Oh,
He's kind of deformed a little bit.
are you making fun of me again?
I wouldn't make fun of you, but I would certainly criticize the hell out of you.
You critical bastard.
You snaggle-toothed redhead, you.
Ah,
Jeez. Listen to that. He's cutting wind over there.
yeah.
Marty, you
Kiss this.
gotta watch these guys. You know what I'm talking about? Man, what do you do with these people? They have no scruples to them whatsoever.
What's this comment down here? Catherine, Daryl, and Daryl.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, we got time for. Okay, so
I've got a little story here. If you want me to tell that?
Tell a story.
This is one of my favorite urban legends about a clown. Okay, about a clown statue. So it kind of fits in here. A few years ago, there was a wealthy couple who had two young children, a boy and a girl. The family lived in a large house in Newport Beach, California. After taking care of their kids all week, the mother and father decided that they needed a break. So they booked a table for dinner at a nice restaurant. That evening, they called a teenage girl they knew and arranged for her to come over and babysit their children while they were out. When the babysitter arrived, the parents told her to fix supper for the kids and put them to bed. After that, you can watch TV and help yourself to anything in the fridge, said the father. And if you wouldn't mind, said the mother, could you watch TV in our bedroom? The kids have been having nightmares recently, so if you hear them crying, you can just go in and calm them down. The babysitter happily agreed, and the parents left for their dinner date. The girl gave the children some milk and cookies, then ushered them to bed upstairs. She started to read them a bedtime story, and before long, the little boy and girl were fast asleep. After tucking them in, she switched off the lights and went to watch TV. When the babysitter walked into the parents' bedroom and sat down, she noticed that there was a creepy-looking clown statue standing in the corner of the room. She tried to ignore it, but it looked so eerie and disturbing that it sent a small chill down her spine. She felt as though its eyes were staring straight at her while she watched TV. As time passed, the babysitter started to feel more and more uneasy about the clown. Whenever she glanced at it, she got the unsettling feeling that it had moved, ever so slightly. Finally, the clown statue began to freak her out so much that she could not handle it any longer. She decided to go downstairs and phone the parents. When she dialed the number they had left for her, the mother answered. "Hi, it's me," said the babysitter. "Everything's fine. The kids are fast asleep in bed, but I was just wondering, would it be okay if I watch TV downstairs?"
Danger.
"Of course," replied the father, "but why?" "I know it sounds silly, but this clown statue is really creeping me out." "The clown statue?" asked the father.
That snaggletooth's creeping me out.
"Yeah, the clown statue in your bedroom," the girl replied.
That red-headed snaggletooth's creeping me out.
The phone went silent for a moment. "Listen to me very carefully," said the father. "Take the children and get out of the house. We will call the police. Go, get out."
What?
"Well, what's wrong?" asked the girl. The father gulped and replied, "We don't have a clown statue." For a second, the babysitter just stood there stunned. Then she dropped the phone and raced upstairs and grabbed the children. Carrying one under each arm, she raced downstairs again and fled out into the street. Huddled on the sidewalk, comforting the two children, the babysitter looked up at the bedroom window and saw something that made her scream. Scream in horror. Peeking through a gap in the curtains was the white, painted face of a clown. It stared at her for a moment, then sank back into the darkness.
Whoa.
Within minutes, the police arrived and cautiously entered the house. In the upstairs bedroom, they found a man dressed in a clown suit.
What?
When they arrested him, they found a knife concealed in his costume.
Oh,
The
God.
clown turned out to be a mentally disturbed midget who was a convicted murderer and cold-blooded killer. The evil man had been stalking the family for months, lurking in the attic during the daytime and coming out to sneak around the house at night. For weeks, the children had been complaining about a clown statue that stood in their room and watched them sleep, but the parents just dismissed this as only nightmares.
From now on, listen to your kids.
Yes,
Not lying to
Yes.
you about the clowns.
this was a real nightmare.
Trust me, we dummies are much safer than clowns.
Yes, we are.
And guess what? We are not flying up here or down there either. We're not flying. We're sitting. In fact, guess what? Mortimer's got Kevin's hand up his ass.
And likewise, Ralphie over there's got Kelsey's hand up his ass.
Yeah, but I'm wearing gloves.
Well, so am I. Oh,
Best state exam.
oh, there he is. I thought he was gone.
You didn't hear that? You didn't hear that, Ralph?
I had to leave for a second. It got too gross with you two.
Ah, you're the gross one.
What?
Yes, you're the
What?
gross meat in this sandwich.
Look at me. I don't have snaggle teeth. I've
Yeah,
got a very, very
Nice.
cute nose.
my
I've got
snaggle teeth are
chubby-
sexy. The
I've
women
got
love
chubby-
them.
Will you shut up and let me talk? I've got chubby cheeks. Look at my perfectly covered hair. And look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. You cannot have those beautiful eyes.
He disappeared again. Ah, crap.
My dummy hands keep pushing buttons they shouldn't be.
You clumsy oaf.
Well, you know, my arms are like your body parts. They go limp.
Ah, you dirty old man.
Yeah. So we're gonna get Mortimer some Viagra.
You need it more than I do.
Well, at least
I
your
do
prostate exams are done this year.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the big show tonight. I am Ralph, the Ralph man, and that creature, whatever he is, there's Mortimer Snurr. He lives in a house with a bunch of haunted dolls. If he'll shut the hell up so I can talk. I gave him all that time to talk, and he just can't talk enough, can you? Huh? Yakety yak, yakety yak, 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 yak.
I've turned into Kelsey, haven't I?
So, who knows? Kelsey and Kevin may never come back again because we dummies are taking over the world.
His hands
Keep
keep
disappearing.
Ralph, watch your hands.
Okay.
You should watch your hands and not put them where in places they shouldn't belong.
Okay, well, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hit the like button.
Ralph, is that a shower head above your head?
He's
That
lit.
is
I
my
did it.
light.
Did you
See,
do it? Did you kill them?
light.
He's
Admit
lit.
it, you killed them.
That is a shower of light upon my wonderful head.
Wonderful.
Have you been
Because
interrogated lately?
I am a holy dummy.
Ah,
I can prove it
Holy
because I can prove it because I have holes.
oh my gosh.
At the moths I sent.
Mortimer,
What?
say good night, Mortimer.
Good night, Mortimer.
And what about
Good
this
night.
flesh and blood individual over there? Can you say good night there, flesh and blood?
Good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Hope everybody had a good time. We did.
Yes, we did.
Sweet dreams.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.